If you haven't seen the sign up yet for to enter to win a free can of my favorite color, Paris Gray, feel free to go over to the table, fill out your name, put it in the little box, and I'll do a drawing at the end to win a quart of the Sloan chalk paint. My name is Kristen. For those of you that haven't heard of me, I have a small business called Blue Egg Brown Nest, and this has a lot to do, this picture, with what I do. I'm just going to give a short introduction of who I am. I'm a mommy. I'm a home designer. I've designed and built 2 homes with my husband right here, Brent Benston, my dear husband over there. I'm a chalk painter. I refinish people's furniture using the chalk painting process. I blog every day in a blog called Blue Egg Brown Nest. Hi, Silly. And I have the opportunity of being an interior designer based on the houses that we built, and I own Blue Egg Brown Nest. My first and foremost job is a mom. I'm a mom of these 3 beautiful kids, all under the age of 6. And again, my dear husband is kind of my partner in crime when it comes to everything Blue Egg Brown Nest. We built 2 homes, both on our street. The first home that we built and designed ourselves, and we sold it to some dear friends. And the second home we actually got to build for ourselves, so we really learned a lot about the building and designing process. We designed the entire interior. It was a clean slate, so I could do all of the interior design. And that's the home that we live in now with our 3 children. I use my home as my portfolio. Again, it was a clean slate. I could do anything I wanted with my home. This is actually my living room, and I am a total homebody, so I love working on anything that has to do with home interiors, and it's why I got into chalk painting. And I love anything with a vintage twist. Some of things like this, old olive crates, anything you can find vintage is really special to me. And I blog every day, and it's also a chance to kind of show off what I'm working on. Again, this is my living room. I use my home as my palette. That's my cat, Owen. He tries to get in every single shot imaginable. In the background is a chest that I painted in Paris Gray, which is actually one of the cans that you can enter to win up there, the chalk paints. Again, I'm a chalk painter. I find and repurpose old furniture, either vintage or antique furniture, using chalk painting process. And I run a daily blog called Blue Egg Brown Nest, where I talk about interior design, I talk about chalk paint, I talk about vintage decor, and anything that has to do with antiques or vintage decor or paint. I have about 10,000 readers a month, and I've done tutorials on YouTube about the whole process, and I have about 30,000 people that have watched them, which I feel very honored and blessed by. So this is kind of what I was going to do for the presentation. I was going to answer the most frequently asked question, which is how to start a creative business, and then I was going to talk about chalk painting, which is my creative business. I'm going to do a demo, which is why you see all these pieces up here of step-by-step of what to do to paint your own furniture that you don't want to get rid of, but you might want to have a different look. And then if we still have time, I'm going to talk about vintage decor and how to integrate that into your home. So again, it's my most asked question is how to start a creative business. I get lovely emails from people that are retired, or they have disabilities, or their moms or students. They want to start something new. They want to be creative. They're not quite sure how to do it. They're not quite sure if you can make money doing it, but they know they have a passion for it. I think also Etsy is another way that people have really expressed interest in creating creative businesses. If you don't know what Etsy is, it's basically different designers. Different designers that come together to sell their wares, whatever it may be. It could be knitting or pottery or whatever. I think social media has also really played an important part in people wanting to start creative businesses, because we can show people what we're doing. We can blog about it, we can post about it. The economy, I think people really want to make some money where they can, doing something that they love. And it's also a way to obviously share your passion and your talent. You need to find your own motivation. For me, this is this is actually my mother and father-in-law who's standing right over there. there. Their basement, I had no budget for furniture. We built this great, big, beautiful house. And my dear husband, who I love very much, hates to spend money on furniture. So I had to get creative. I actually bought 8 chairs off of Craigslist for like $100. And I practiced and experimented how to do milk paint. So that was my motivation. I needed to find something to put in my home. And this is a picture of my kitchen. I use what I do. I use these every single day. My kids eat their cereal off these chairs. And when people come into my home, I show them this is my craft. This is what I do. A very important aspect of starting your business is to have a point of view. You need to make it your own because you are going to blend with your business. And whatever you do is going to come across as your personality. You need to make it unique so people are interested in it. Mine is called Blue Egg Brown Nest. I love the contrast of the soft shell, the blue of the egg, and then the very rusticness of the nest. And of course, nest as home. It kind of just made sense for me and my point of view. It's also going to talk about any kind of point of view in your style. It's going to come across in what you blog about and what you paint. It's all gonna be out there under your point of view. You have to create an identity. Obviously, having a logo really helps. A dear friend made this logo for me, and Blue Egg Brown Nest. Once again, that's what made sense. That title made sense for me. You have to fall in love with what you do. If you don't love it, you're not going to want to do it every day. You're not going to want to wake up thinking about it. You're not going to want to talk to your friends about it. You're not going to want to go to sleep thinking about it. And honestly, that is really what I end up doing. My friends are probably so annoyed at me talking about it all the time. But it's really what I love to do. So keep that in mind. I think it's important to work what you got. We actually were building the home, and that kind of was perfect timing for me because we designed the interior. I could do whatever I wanted. It was a complete blank slate. My husband had no real preference of how I started the design process of it. So for me, it made sense. So work what you have. If you want to become a welder, make sure you have the materials and the space. Make sure it makes sense for you. Start small. This is actually my son on a small piece of furniture. I wouldn't have started on a huge piece. You want to start with something a little tinier so you don't get overwhelmed by the process. So you can go through the steps of your business, like creating it, selling it, talking about it, and start with something smaller. Don't go crazy. This is when I did go crazy. I used a bigger piece of furniture. This is the biggest piece I had started with, which was a china cabinet, and you can see I'm holding a container of paint. I probably mixed about 5 different colors in there because I really didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I was enjoying the process and I was making myself happy. It was fun, it made sense to me. I ended up really playing with the materials, and then finally I put it on Etsy, and yes, it took me a while to sell because it was my first large piece, but it finally sold and I was really encouraged from that. Know your craft. I learned in 8th grade shop class that craftsmanship actually does matter because people are going to be able to tell if you've missed spots of paint, if there are drip marks or whatever. Practice does make perfect. I think you need to put in the work. I did these chairs right before the Luckett Spring Market, and I was up until way past my bedtime, which is very early. And I finished these chairs because I knew I had to get it done. So whatever it takes to get it done, if you're gearing up for a show, if you are doing some custom work for someone, you gotta have the stamina to put in the work. And of course, you have to sell your product. Unfortunately, I think as creative people, we would all like to just do our little watercolor or whatever it may be and enjoy it, but making money is kind of part of the process. Because then you can buy your supplies, you can buy your paints, you can, it also kind of motivates you to continue on doing your craft. And then you make a business plan, you dream big, just think about where you could go with your own creative endeavor. Custom work, this is a custom piece of furniture that I did for a client of mine, and now she's a repeat client. I've done her grandmother's bar cart, I've done dressers for her. But know that when you do custom work, it's a whole other other can of worms, because all of a sudden that person becomes your client. You have to make them happy. You have to do the color that they want. Sometimes I've done work for people and they don't want it so shabby, or they want it a little bit cleaner. And you also obviously have a timeline. You have a schedule to stick to when you're doing anything for a client. A room of one's own, that's my little nod to Virginia Woolf. It's really important to have the space to do your craft. I mean, we might not think about it, but you need a room if you're a knitter. You need an easel if you're a painter. You need to look out a window, whatever it may be. In the background, that's actually my house, and I love using, if you look at the pictures of my pieces on my website, you'll see my garage doors, you'll see my front door, you'll see my kids, you'll see my husband. It's very all in the family. But I love using my house as a background because that's where I create these pieces, and it's what I love. I love seeing my little eyebrow shutters behind my vintage desk. And it's actually a very creative process for me. I have small kids. I'm always at home, and so I do everything right there. So make sure you have the space. I've totally taken up my entire driveway. On Saturday mornings, you cannot drive up my driveway because it's normally filled with tables and chairs and all kinds of furniture. This is actually my garage. My very dear and loving husband has sacrificed the entire garage. I can no longer put a car in there. I do let him put a few pieces of, I think there's a leaf blower in there or whatever, but mostly it's my furniture. Blog your business. You might not be a writer, you might have never read a blog in your life, and to be completely honest, I never read a blog before blogging myself. But people want to read it. They want to see what you're up to. Post pictures of what you're talking about. Post pictures about the process that you're doing, and then it'll also help you to sell your pieces. You are also the product. So whatever you bring to the table, you're also bringing yourself. So make sure you're exposing the best parts of you and your personality, and make sure it all kind of combines with the same thing. My blue egg brown nest, I have two main areas of content, which is the chalk painting and the interior design. Chalk painting, on my blog you'll find me talking a lot about the techniques and the steps. I'll talk about the colors, the materials, I'll show pictures, I'll sell pieces, and of course I refinish for clients. And interior design is the other main topic that I really talk about. I love vintage style, anything that's old, anything that you can bring in to kind of make it interesting that you can't get at Pottery Barn, anything that looks unique. And I talk a lot about that. I talk about where you can find interesting things on Friday. I have a Favorite Things Friday, where I actually take a specific piece and tell you where you can get it. Seek out the press. The press is probably not going to come knocking on your door, but expose yourself. I know for me, I literally wrote one of the writers of the Washington Post that did the home section, and I was like, hi, can you just take a peek at my website? She did that afternoon. She called me that night. She said I was going to be the February lifestyle section article, and I had this, before I knew it, I had this photo shoot, all these cameras in my home. It was awesome. It was just because I had written this little email thinking that nobody was going to even notice me. And so don't underestimate talking about yourself, because it is also about marketing. And aim high. Who knew I was going to get in the Washington Post? This is part of the article. That's actually my living room and my house. That's my son, and my cat likes to get into every photo. It's very all in the family. This is, I would suggest hiring help if you're actually doing a craft where you have bigger pieces like furniture. I hired a mover. This is not my mover. This is actually my daughter Fiona. She's 3 years old here. But that dog is my mover's dog. And my mover comes on whatever day of the week. His dogs all jump out of the van. And, you know, my daughters are talking to the mover. I mean, it's all, there's no private, it's all right there. We're pretty exposed at my house with Blue Egg Brown Nest is very present. So hire a mover if you need someone. I was making my husband move furniture and it probably really wasn't fair. So now I pay someone to do it and it's working out really well. Social media is such a great area to really expose yourself. I mean, you can post pictures, you can tweet about it, update your status, talk about it. Pinterest, post your pictures on Pinterest, whatever you're working on, and keep it fresh. Don't go a month without letting people know what you're up to because people will forget about you. So try to do it as much as, and it's nice to hear back from people. I hear back from all you lovely people about encouraging me. It's very, very sweet. Design collateral material. People might not buy your pieces, but they will take a card. So have a business card. I think my mom put mine on the table over there. Background definitely helps. For me, what I'm doing right now really made sense because I was an English major, so I love to write. My dad is somewhere, my dad is over there checking his email. Dad. He is a jewelry designer, as was his father before him. So I think it's really, again, it's very in the family. And I've always appreciated art. I love furniture. Do tutorials on your craft. Initially, I was very skeptical about teaching people what I was doing because I felt very, there was a propriety about it. And but I realized people really do want to learn, and everybody's different, so they're not going to do the exact thing you do. They're not going to use the same colors, but they do want to see what you're doing and how to do it. I think a lot of people are interested in turning their old brown pieces into something that they're proud of, that they want in their home, they can brighten their home. I think we're kind of getting away from a darker colors like this. No one is you. Start doing local shows. This is the first show that I did and I sold every piece that I had. You got to prepare for the show, you got to maintain relationships. It's a really important place to start. I then moved up to doing the Luckett Spring Market, which I do in the spring. Connect with your product. Annie Sloan is the maker of your paint and waxes, which I will talk all about in a few minutes. Let me make sure I'm not, okay, I still have time. Connect with who makes your product. This is a woman that makes it out of the UK, and once the Post article came out, she started writing to me. And it was really cool feeling that the maker of the product actually was happy with how I was using her product. So if you're knitting or whatever you're doing, know who's making your materials because you'll be much more connected to the process. A partner helps. This is my dear husband. At the Luckett show, he's definitely my #1 employee. He's my partner in crime, helping hand. Here he is sanding my pieces. He will glue pieces. He will take off hardware for me, and he does it all for free. Love you, baby. Make friends along the way. I don't know if any of you recognize this woman, but she's Miss Mustard Seed, and she has a really popular blog as well. She does a lot of DIY. She paints. She sews. Make friends with people because you're going to see them time and time again. I go to these estate sales to collect vintage pieces and I run into the same people and we're always waving and hugging and saying hi. It's actually a really nice community bond that you can make with the same people that are doing your stuff, and you can motivate each other. Like I said, it's totally a family affair at the Benston household. This is my son. I bought these trunks from an estate sale. I put them in my driveway. And he comes running up and he says, "Pirate treasure." And no, it's not, there's no treasure in there, bud, but he knows what it is to have a vintage materials lying around. And of course that's Fiona doing a little bit of mirror on the wall. Put the kids to work. I always say that my kids will be taking over Blue Egg Brown Nest. I already have my 6-year-old painting. This is actually a TV screen that I'm making her work on. I think she only got to one of the frames before she decided she was done though. Don't stop believing, push yourself. Yes, you may get criticism. I've received so many lovely emails, but every once in a while I get kind of a bad seed, and you all know about it because I write about it. But I try not to get derailed too much from those criticisms, because I think there's one in every batch, and we gotta, you know, they're not making up the big picture. And I try not to, don't let them trip you up, because mean people